Warning about Cain Christians. Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." Genesis 4:8. Washington State Courts. First, a fast fact, as recorded in 1 John 5:19. We know that we are children of God, and that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. As it is obvious, Satan owns Washington State, most notably the King County court systems. Now, let us discover why Judge Lori K. Smith and King County prosecutors were inspired by their God to destroy the right of association as defined in the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. The answer is that the evil one is using his court systems to try and force the disciples of Jesus to enter Cain's field. In Genesis, we read of Cain's invitation to associate with him in his field and on his terms. The reason is that Cain seeks to slay his brother Abel's faith and life. Genesis 4:8. Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." Christian Cain appears to worship God. Christian Cain appears to worship the living God, and even comes to church with a sacrifice. Christian Cain tithes, sacrifices, serves, and thus easily deceives the naive that tolerate them. God wrote the story of Cain early in the Old Testament, so that now all who associate with Christian Cain are without excuse. In short, when Cain just wants to speak with you, do not go into that field. When Cain desires to fold hands with you and pray, refuse, and turn your face to God. Best to wise up, since Christian Cain may quote Scripture just as Satan did when tempting Jesus. Cain's plot. Now, let us read Cain's plot to destroy. Genesis 4:3-8. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. But Abel brought fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it." Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. There are more Cain Christians than a Judas in the church. At least Judas hung himself, and that was the end of it. Not so with Cain Christians. This is why Jesus said to prepare for the great falling away, as recorded in Matthew 24:10. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. The Apostle John echoes the same warning. 1 John 3:12. Do not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil, and his brothers were righteous. Christian Cain seeks to not only kill a person's faith in Jesus, but to cause them to stumble into some sin. The reason is that Christian Cain resents the fact that God rejected them for not surrendering all out of love for God. Christian Cain is ultimately selfish and only seeks God for what he or she can gain from God. Cain Christians kill because they are resentful of those whose actions are righteous. Christian Cain is repulsed by the fact that a righteous disciple of Jesus rebukes and exposes their hypocrisy. Indeed, Christian Cain cannot sleep until they have made someone else fall. Proverbs 4:16, for they cannot sleep until they do evil. They are robbed of slumber until they make someone fall. Cain credentials. Now, let us consider Cain's credentials that are listed in the book of Jude. Cain claims Jesus. Cain is a fallen Christian who betrays. Cain strikes at righteousness and the righteous. Cain is full of hate and anger. Cain often can be found as a blemish, sitting in weak churches that do not contend for the faith. Cain, those who make false promises are like clouds without rain. Cain is blown by the wind, with no foundation in this world. Cain is a cold, barren autumn tree, having forfeited the summer of salvation. Cain no longer has fruit, none, not even a leftover fruit. Cain is uprooted from Jesus, now twice dead. Cain stirs up wild waves of their foaming shame. Cain is a wandering star, hopelessly lost and alone in the universe. Remember how Cain whined to God that the judgment to wander was too much? Genesis 4:12-14. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Cain's reservation. God has reserved for Cain Christians the blackest of darkness, a forever, eternal blackest of darkness. Jude 1:11-13. Woe to them! They have taken the way of Cain. These individuals are blemishes at your love feasts, eating with you without the slightest qualm. They are clouds without rain, blown along by the wind. Autumn trees without fruit and uprooted, twice dead. They are wild waves of the sea, foaming up their shame, wandering stars, for whom the blackest darkness has been reserved forever. Fool of fools. Only a fool of fools would enter Cain's field. After all, only a fool jumps off a cliff thinking they can fly. Let us all take to heart that God cannot be mocked. Purposely speaking with a Cain Christian results in spiritual death. Genesis 4:8. Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Remember, bad company corrupts good character. And a disciple of Jesus is not even supposed to eat lunch with a hypocritical Christian. How much more should one not enter Cain's field? 1 Corinthians 5:11. But now I am writing you that you must not associate with anyone who calls himself a brother, but is sexually immoral or greedy, an idolater or a slanderer, a drunkard or a swindler. With such a man, do not even eat. The Consider Podcast, examining today's wisdom, folly, and madness. www.consider.info